How's it going, Eliminators? Today, we're going to be continuing on with my LED light upgrades on my 2019 Ford F-150. Now, these LEDs are made by Diode, and a big shout out goes to them for sending these my way. In today's video, we'll be upgrading the license plate lights. So with that being said, let's get right to the install. Starting off at the back of the truck, we'll need to remove our license plate bulb housings. Now, in order to remove both of those housings, I'll be using a trim removal tool as it makes it much easier to pop them out. The housing is held in place by two clips, so lightly pry in between the plastic housing and the bumper, and the housing should pop right out. Pull the housing out until the connector is exposed, then rotate the outer housing counterclockwise to remove it from the connector. You can then set the housing off to the side. At this point, we can go ahead and remove the bulbs. However, you may find that the small license plate bulbs are hard to remove by hand. To help remove the bulb, I'll be using a small standard screwdriver. Very carefully, we'll use the screwdriver to lightly pry from the bottom, and now we can remove the bulb from the connector. For the purpose of this video, we'll be replacing the factory halogen license plate bulbs with a set of 194 socket LEDs, both made by Diode. You'll see the HP3 on the left and the brighter HP5 model on the right. Starting off with the 194 socket HP3, these lights feature a low power consumption at just under 1 watt with a typical draw of about 63 milliamps. Coming in at 56 lumens, the HP3 LED lights will be a significant upgrade over the stock halogen bulbs. Next up is the 194 socket HP5 featuring a slightly higher power consumption at just over 1 watt with a typical draw of about 83 milliamps, coming in at 92 lumens, which is 36 lumens brighter than the HP3 model. Now, both the HP3 and the brighter HP5 LEDs have what's known as non-polarized terminals, meaning they don't have negative and positive sides. However, you should still test the bulb before reinstalling the housing, as you may need to flip it around. And as I mentioned previously, I'll be installing both of these LEDs, but on separate sides of the truck so that we can compare the two. Take your LED light and firmly press it into the connector until you feel it seat into position. At this point, you'll want to test the light first, so turn your key into the accessory position and the license plate light should illuminate. If not, simply flip the light around. We can now reinstall the housing onto the connector by firmly pressing down and rotating in a clockwise direction. With the connector now reassembled, simply press down on the housing and you should feel it snap into place. The installation is now complete. So before I install the HP3 on the driver's side, here's a quick comparison between the factory halogen and the brighter HP5 LED on the right. Immediately you can tell there's a huge difference in light output, and it's a much cleaner, cool white instead of the dull yellow glow of the factory halogen. So I'll go ahead and install the HP3 on the other side, and we'll compare the two LEDs. So starting off, here's what the back of the truck looks like with the factory halogens. Notice the yellow hue, and that they don't illuminate too much of the tailgate. And now with both the HP3 and the HP5 LEDs installed, you'll notice that not only is the license plate illuminated more, but more light is cast upwards along the tailgate. And I'll get into why that matters near the end of the video. The important thing here is that we're trying to compare the output of both the HP3 and the HP5, and it's quite clear that the HP5 is much brighter. Flipping between the two, we can see that the HP5 LED slightly washes out the white background of my Ontario license plates. Switching over to a rear view off the tailgate, when comparing the factory halogen license plate lights to the HP3 and HP5 LED license plate lights, you really won't notice much of a difference when backing up in large open areas. But my main concern was going to be how the brighter LEDs affected the backup camera, as I heard that using an LED light that was too bright could cause a glare on your screen. So here we could see what the backup camera looks like with factory halogens installed in both reverse lights and the license plate lights. Switching over to the LEDs, the first thing we notice in comparison to the factory halogens is there's a slight glare being cast onto the camera. However, it's such a small area towards the bottom of the screen that I would honestly say it doesn't negatively affect backing up. And looking at the HP3 on the right and the much brighter HP5 on the left, there's really no difference in how they affect the camera when comparing the two. And while we're here, if you're looking to improve the visibility while backing up, I would highly recommend a set of Diode LED reverse lights. These are the XP80s, and well, the difference is literally night and day. So if I had to choose between the HP3 or the HP5, which one would I recommend to use as license plate lights? Well, I would recommend the HP3. I know that here in Ontario, Canada, we do have white backgrounds to our license plates, and the brighter HP5 actually started to wash out the white into the lettering just a little bit, and I think that in my own personal opinion, the HP5 is just a little bit too bright to use as a license plate light. However, all is not lost, because I will be repurposing the brighter HP5 light in an upcoming video where I do an LED upgrade on my front headlights. And I'm able to do that because the HP5 shares the same 194 socket as the front side marker on the headlights. So you'll want to stay tuned for that upcoming video. Big shout out goes to Diode Dynamics for sending these bulbs my way. And if you're thinking of doing an LED upgrade, be sure to check out diodedynamics.com to see if they make LED lights for your vehicle. Links will be in the description and the comments down below. But that's it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, think about leaving me a thumbs up. You know, it really helps me out. You can click here to subscribe and click over here to watch one of my previous videos. I upload every single week, so be sure to stop on by next week, check channel out for new content, and as always guys, thanks for watching.